You running?
Yep.
All right, so we decided we're using this barrel. We're going to go with the 0.339 inch neck reamer, which pretty much means it'll accept any factory ammo. It'll still be a little tighter, but it'll accept any factory ammo. Now, what we were doing is, and I hadn't even thought about this, that carbon fiber barrel that he had was inch 200 at the breech. So these are all my rings. I never even show people this. I make up all these rings to fit onto the barrel. And I make them all different sizes, and that one fits just about perfect. Remember, this is inch 300 here. I didn't even know, I have some here marked 1.219. I didn't even know I had any inch 200 ones, and they've never been used. So I can't even remember when and if I did an inch 200 barrel. But now what we're doing is we're looking for something to go on the muzzle, right? And of course the muzzle's tapered, so depending on where you want to cut it, which the only reason I'm bringing this up is I just asked him, this is a 30-inch blank. I said, where do you want to cut it? And he said 26. Well, without giving too many secrets away, the chance it'll be 26 is 1 in a million. It might be 25 and 5/8. It might be 25 and 3/4. It might be 26 and 1/4. It might be 27 and 1/4. It will be, within reason, it will be, this is a 30-inch blank, so it's not going to be any more than 29. And probably I would not even go 28 and a half. But it's going to be somewhere in there. And I'm going to show him, and if you come here to be a student, I will show you, but I'm going to let the barrel tell me where that it wants to be cut. And so what we're going to do is, once we get these rings on here, then we're going to get this in the lathe. So we're going to stop again for a second. So anyways, look, I'm totally out of it. Are we running?
Yep.
All right, so we were just, we were looking for shims to chuck this in the lathe. And then I suddenly realized, oh wait, he wants a brake on here. So when I do brakes, I use split shims so that you can get it back off, because you realize it's going to be bigger on the end. Something that slides on, you cannot slide back off if the brake's on. And I install the brake in the lathe. This is very important to understand this. So, but while we're standing here talking, he wants a brake on this. Just listen to this. This is super important. If you want extreme accuracy, we already have a whole bunch of stuff working against us. If you want extreme accuracy, don't put anything on the end of a barrel. Nothing. I don't care what it is. Don't put anything on the end of a barrel if you want as much accuracy as you can possibly get. Now, you tell them what you told me.
Well, just doing some research on the brakes and the number of baffles and the total reduction, I was seeing in the 3-port, something in the neighborhood of 37 to 38% reduction in recoil. In the 4-port, it was 42, 43, and then it starts to flatten out after 4
Yeah, but that's not where I'm going. Where I was going is, given a choice between, if you had to choose between no brake and more accuracy, or a brake and a little less accuracy, you would choose?
I would choose a brake.
He's choosing the brake.
All right. Yep. And so just to be able to, without even developing a flinch or anything like that, if I can't hold that gun still shooting it, it's pointless in having a gun that would shoot that accurate, right?
So see, I'm the exact opposite. I would literally get kicked until I get detached retinas to get that extra 1/10 of an inch out of there. You know what I mean? I wouldn't put a brake on it until we get the 330. I'm not really serious. Yeah. Until we get the 338 Lapua, at least I don't want a brake. Even if it's shooting 300 grain bullets, I'd let it kick the living crap out of me to be able to put them through one hole.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's not the point then. So there's a whole other aspect that comes into this, because that, you have to think about that before you put the brake on. So here's the thing, hand that brake to me. So Vicky's gonna go dig out Troy Newlon's book, and we're gonna let him read this part about not using non-symmetrical brakes. I'm going to push hard then to get him to put a Harl's on here. Plus, you're going to learn way more. It's going to be way better. But the Harl's, these big baffle brakes, what he's saying is, these probably do have greater recoil reduction. But I don't think you're going to be able to notice. You know what I mean? I don't think you're going to be able to notice between 25% or 35%. But we have to see if we actually have a Harl's in stock, because I didn't think about that. But here's the issue. This is the main thing, right? This is a 30 caliber barrel. Look at the end of it. Okay? And it's fairly narrow here at the muzzle, right? This is only, this barrel measures 750 at the muzzle. We're going to cut it back here a ways. So it's going to be maybe 775 at the muzzle. It's a 30 caliber hole. Look, there's not very much metal from the inside, the wall of the inside, to the outside. We have to turn a tenon on that, which means that wall is going to get way thinner yet, and then you got to screw this on there. Well, I want as big a tenon as possible, which means as big a hole in here, and I want the right threads and everything. In other words, I want to leave as much material on the barrel as possible. Okay, that's very important. If this barrel, say this was only a 6mm barrel and it had the same outside diameter, it wouldn't be as important, because instead of having a 308 hole in it, you'd only have a 243 hole in it, or say it was a 224, right? Yep. If it's 224, it has a little wee pinhole in there. We got all kind of steel to work with. So this is something that comes up in many conversations when I talk to guys. They want to break because it's going to be a light rifle, which is a small contour barrel, but that is a contradiction. Putting a brake on a small diameter barrel is a really bad idea. You don't trust me? Go to 6BR or AccurateShooter.com. I can't think of that man's name, the guy that builds all those super accurate ARs. You dig in there and read all the tests that he did. He doesn't ever want to go less than 750 at the muzzle. That's the smallest he'll go if you're going to put anything on it. And again, I'll say this one more time. If it's accuracy first, don't put anything on the end of the barrel. But if the recoil bothers you and you have to use a brake, then use a symmetrical brake and keep as much steel here as possible. All right, so now we're going to get back to this. So what we need right here, we don't have right now. What's this? All right, so we found a ring. You know, I just make these rings in the lathe, right? We found one we want that's about right, and we're going to take it over there with a hacksaw and we're going to split it, right? So that we have two pieces so that it'll come back off when we need it to come off. But something else I forgot to show people here is, so there's a bunch of things I don't like about this brake, but this is going to be one of the major ones. Watch this. So the hole through this 30 caliber brake measures Muzzle will call it 345. On a 30 caliber, I like to go 20 over, so 308, it should be 328. 28, 38, 48, it's 20 over what I would like. Now again, I've read a whole bunch of tests and I realize they work, but for accuracy, I only want 20 over, and I want precisely 20 over, so 308, 328, and that's going to be an issue with this one. So again, I don't know whether we're going to use this or not. I got to send Vicki over and hunt through all our brakes. Vicki, if you want to take a minute when you're in there and show them all the brakes we have, you can show them. But we have to see if we have a brake. Vicki, you're looking for something that's compatible with this. Whoa, that's another reason, by the way, that I like Harl's brakes. You know what you should do? Get one of those Harl sheets out and show them all the dimensional choices you have with a Harl's brake. A Harl's brake isn't just like 5/8, 24 or whatever. They have a whole, there's about 30 different brakes of all different thread counts, TPIs, different diameters, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So we have to see if we have the right brake, but we need a brake that's going to go on something that's about 775. Okay, so you can go do that. I got to cut this ring. All right, so we're back. Since you saw us last, it's been about, I don't know, an hour and a half, wouldn't you say? And so what we realized is the brake that he bought, I think I showed you, I measured it, and it's way oversized, right? It's like 40 over bullet diameter, and I like to run 20 over bullet diameter. Plus, his brake is non-symmetrical. It's got holes on the top. So we went and dug out Troy Newlon's, the Accurate muzzle brake, and Vicki found the exact part in there where he's telling you, do not use non-symmetrical brake. So I'm not going to argue about this. You guys do whatever you want. We don't want to use non-symmetrical brakes, and I don't want to brake with 40 over in the hole. Plus, I didn't like the diameter of this. It's too small. So what we did was we dug it around in our Harls, Linwood Harl. We dug around in our brake thing, and we just so happens it looks like we have one that's going to work. So this is 7/8 on the outside, 5/8 on the inside, 24. Okay, and it's a radial brake. But then I realized, because we're doing this things out of order here, these brakes come with a 1/4 inch hole in them. That's 0.250. Well, the deal is, I have a boring bar that'll reach in there, but that's an awful lot of material to try to reach in there with a small boring bar. So what I do is, lately, the last couple years, I put it in the 3-jaw chuck, and I run drill bits through them from this end to get it out close. I think, aren't we within like 1/8 or 4 thou, something. Yep. So I'll bore the last 4 or 5 thousandths out of it with a boring bar, but we needed to get that material out of there. So we had to put the 3-jaw on. So while we had the 3-jaw on, of course, we realized we didn't have a bore guide. So we stopped, took a piece of material, and we made a bore guide, and it came out pretty good. It's not quite sucking air, but it's pretty good. Look, it doesn't fall out. And so now we have a bore guide. So now we're going to finally, we've been here for 8 hours.
Yeah.
We've been here for 8 hours, and we're getting ready to put the barrel in the lathe. All right, we'll see you in a little bit again. All right.
There you go. I might as well do something. Do the whole Vanna White thing.
She made big bucks. Ready?
Yep, ready.
Okay, well, you have to say action.
Action.
Okay, so it is, what time is it? It's 8 o'clock in the morning, day 2. Yesterday, we put in, what, 10 hours? We put in 10 hours yesterday, but really we hardly got anything done. So this is just a recap. We knocked a bigger hole in this brake. We made a bore guide, but mostly what we did was spend time figuring out what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. So the one thing, though, we did get done, come on over here and look, is we think the barrel is spinning on its true center right now. And so one of the questions that Jason asked me is, well, okay, if we get this all dialed in and we have to leave, will it be all dialed in the morning? So here, let's find out. Because truthfully, I don't know. Let's see. All right. So watch the indicator. Here, why don't you let me do this? Here. All right, so see if you can see that. Actually, Vicki, you got to hold this while I spin it. Okay, because I can't see it. Looks to me like, I don't know, you can barely, I'd say it's less than 2/10,000ths. So that's where we were when we quit last night. Now let's go to the inside, the inboard side. And watch, I got to be able to see my DRL, make sure I don't crash this. So obviously I must have zeroed it out on the end, okay?
Yeah.
What we're talking, you won't be able to see this anyway. See, the camera can't see anything that's LED. All right, so let's see where we're at here now. Here, see if I can get this to focus. I got it, hold on. Here, hold the camera. Stand on the other side of me. Hold the camera and make sure it can see that. Are you ready? You're not focused enough.
I think it's too close.
Right? I don't know. It just won't focus. Let me see. I want to be able to see it with my own eyes. Yes, I would say it didn't move at all. So anyways, that's it for right now. The very next thing we're going to do on this is so we're spinning on center. So we have to turn a tenon here. Once we get a square shoulder on the tenon, we have to thread it. We have to fit the receiver to it. You've got to get your tenon length right then. I always run them a little bit long. You got to face that off, and then we go to chambering. But that'll be hours from now. So somewhere along the way, we'll come back and show you what we're doing. All right. So no movement, essentially. Here, I got it.
Yep.
All right, Are you running?
Nope.
What day is today?
Today is the 20th of February.
220? 22024. Okay, 22024, that's for Vicky. We just got done turning this tenon for this, and we want to show you something. So come over here and look at this. All right? So you see how that just goes on. The actual measurement on the tenon for this receiver ended up being 1.127. The print says 1.125. We cut the tenon to fit the receiver, not what the print says. Okay, and so like I said, that goes on there. Once it actually went on, once it would slide on, we took what, about another half a thou, right?
Yep.
To get it to go on. Now, here was the issue. And Jason actually brought this up. So we got a shoulder here, and it's a square shoulder, but that was with the tool that we were using to turn the tenon. That was a carbide insert. It has a radius on the tip of it. I do not want a radius down there in that corner. I want the corner deeper than that. And so we were just about to go into a discussion of how to make sure this shoulder is truly square and has a little bit of an undercut in it, because this also has a very slight radius right on the edge of this. And so where we were going is over here. Come over here, Vicki. And again, we got such crappy cameras, you're not going to be able to see this. But this is a BAT VR, which is heavy, by the way. And this is, come on in here. And this has already been done, right? This is a 6XC. But I want to show you something. First of all, when it's right, it's very hard to get it to start to be threaded because the tolerances are so close. All right. Everything takes longer on camera. All right, now, you got your cheaters on?
I do.
You guys aren't going to be able to see this. You're going to have to take our word for it. So I like to watch here.
Yep.
Here, and I want you to do this. Vicki, you need to be
light?
here where you can see.
Okay.
Shine that light down in there. Okay, right here. Right here's where we want to look. And you got to get it just right, like that. All right, now watch. Now, tell me, is there two pieces of steel?
No.
You cannot even tell. In other words, there is no joint. When you get that shoulder exactly right and the face of the receiver is exactly right, because see, you can see a hairline right here, but when I bring it together, it's like it's one piece of steel. And what's amazing is if you take that and tighten that like that, it's hard to get it back off. So when them two perfect surfaces come together, they're like one. And the idea is, of course, there's no movement whatsoever. So that's what we have to accomplish over there. And so if you just use a piece of carbide, a carbide insert with that radius on it, you have to go back in, and now we're going to use a tool like this. Get over here, Vicki. We're going to use something like this that's super sharp, you see?
Yep.
And we're going to go in there and literally reface this, right? We're going to reface that, and then we're going to go undercut it and move back out to the tailstock end and make a little groove in there for the radius on that to fit in. And that way, when they come up, they lock up. All right, we're done for that for a second.